Garden Grove Brewing and Urban Winery for allowing us to be here. This is the second session of the RVA Lit Crawl, the third annual RVA Lit Crawl. I want to remind you that there is another event at 8 o'clock down at Sugar and Twine. The Parhillion writers will be reading. There's some really fine folks there. And then at 9 o'clock, there's a party. So can, and you're all invited because you showed up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here at Kollatz Jr., and I'm going to talk about Carlisle Montgomery. Carlisle Montgomery is a 6'5", red-headed, fucking gap-toothed, 9-fingered, I'll demonstrate, 9-fingered guitar-playing freak, in her own words. And she fronts the Live Wires, which is a bluegrass band with a honky-tonk problem they're not trying to fix. And the story concerns our sordid and sometimes sordid adventures and misadventures, musical, sexual, and travel, which is the 1968 International Harvester truck that ferries the band around. Along the way, she has romantic relationships, sometimes adorable, sometimes convenient. She also wanders into movies made by her childhood friend, Mark Groff, who has become something of an art house darling, and he's gotten commissioned to create a biopic of Edgar Allan Poe, and he wants to got cast, Carlisle as Israfel, the demiurgic creature that impels and compels Poe to make his art. So they're filming in and around Richmond. The scene takes place in the very spooky Elmira Royster house up on Churchill. She has been fitted with this enormous and difficult rig of wings, which is causing her some trouble, hence fitting with our misfit theme. The actor playing Edgar Allan Poe is named Gordon Lucier. Elmira's actor is named Louisa Trevilian, and we will meet them all shortly. So, they're rehearsing the scene in the house. They're conducting a reading of The Raven, a performance of The Raven. Carlisle and Gordon rehearsed their Raven back and forth for the first time since she started on the project. A shuddering, ringing case of anxiety struck. Gordon talked her off the brink. "This is tough," he said. "For experienced stage actors, it can take weeks to get right, such tight timing. This is like opera without music." Then she said, "We ought to sing it." Gordon Lucier thought this was a good idea to get into the rhythm. The scene exchanged lines between them and their voices collided. While keeping track of the lines, Carlisle, also per Mark's direction, turned into the bird that demanded entry into Poe's chamber. She jerked her head and whipped it around, eyes unblinking. She practiced these gestures facing the dim powder room mirror underneath the stairs. She felt these efforts resembled nothing more than a constipated chicken. "I look ridiculous," she confessed to Gordon Lucier. "It's a ridiculous poem." "What?" "Well, it's not even his best work. I mean, just the one everybody knows." He sneezed once, twice, apologized. "You only get 3, Carlisle warned, and Gordon held up a finger as though drowning. "Here we go." He huffed and puffed, and he pulled, puffed, but no explosion. "I hate these almost sneeze feelings." Anyway, his brows constricted in the intense, brooding Poe manner. He presented the Raven in public 58 times in the last year of his life. 58 times. Carlisle rolled her shoulders and smarted from the wings. They wanted to hear his hit. One of the brisk and efficient production assistants came to fetch them to the set 3 whole rooms away. Ula, a porcelain redhead not bearing a trace of freckles. A sharp profile and hair pulled into a curled braid piled in back reminded Carlisle of that girl Scully from the X-Files. She informed through the walkie-talkie of the approach of Edgar and Israfel. Carlisle folded the wings to scuttle along the passage and followed Ulla's urging to pick up her feet to avoid stumbling over the bundled cords for powering the production machinery. The room dressed by old bookcases freighted by the ragged leather-tooled volumes of quaint and forgotten lore. Curled manuscripts, small ornate framed pictures, including Virginia Poe's apparent death portrait and a drawing of young Edgar, lip unadorned by a mustache, and he looked intriguing and romantic. At center, a standalone desk, lit by a green-shaded lamp and a bust of Pallas above the door. Just as the poem stage directed and depicted by the drawings of Manet and Doré. A large frame painting made for the set depicted a blend of Louise Trevelyan and, yes, Elmira when I get there. And scrims covered the real windows, and one an imitation built for Edgar to thrust open the shutters. The glow of monitors flashed on Mark's glasses, heavy headphones slung on his neck. He didn't in that moment appear happy to see them or pleased at much of anything. A bulky camera on a track occupied the center of the cramped room like a mechanical sumo wrestler. Another operator wore a Steadicam. The belts, attachments, and equipment converted the cameraman into a hybrid. The director made no small chat, but instructed Edgar how and where to sit, not in a natural way, but for the camera's benefit. Cheat out to the right. Gordon Lucier shuffled to the right to face the camera directly as a large bearded man in a sweat-stained t-shirt pushed the tracking camera toward him. Yes, Rafael, Mark began without enthusiasm. Need you behind to the left. Your other left. Now we're going to take this from the top a couple times, and we do it. The scene called for Edgar and Israfel to begin the poem together. A gentle haze wafted in the room from a bellows-breathing atmospheric device to better catch the dim light brightened by reflector sheets. Gordon got more sneezes out of the way. Mark insisted he cared neither for an over-rehearsed automatism nor cue cards. He didn't want to manipulate the scene's sound in post-production either. That meant Gordon and Carlisle going through their poetic a cappella duet right now. Israfel sings speaking as inspiration one line, and in the next Edgar demonstrating his excited sense of discovery. However, this isn't about writing the ballad. It's the narrator going unhinged. First to the pecking of the raven's beak, and then to the uncompromising one-word response, which is what? Thank you. Israfel transforms into a part real and part animated raven. Carlisle, bereft of her worrying harmonica, didn't feel proper or situated. She straightened under what felt like a heavier weight of the wings. Once, upon a midnight jury, Edgar, head in hand and his scratching pen, lifted the pause, while I pondered, weak and wary. Israfel hesitated because her prodigious Texas-Wisconsin border cafe and Davis in Maine and Live Wire's repertoire memory in that moment failed. Nothing came. She stumbled to call for line, while hoping an abrupt and strange maelstrom wind might yank her through the window, and Ulla supplied the first over a many. Carlisle supplied many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. Mark ordered, take it from the top. We're still rolling. They repeated the lines from once upon a midnight dreary, and again after that. Carlisle's knees wobbled beneath the weight of her wings. Edgar, unflustered, lifted his head, though heavy, while I nodded, merely napping. Israfel tipped a fingernail against the bookshelf. Suddenly, there came a tapping as if someone, she stopped and swallowed, gently rapping. Edgar head up and eyes narrowed. Rapping at my chamber door, "'Tis some visitor," I muttered. Tapping at my chamber door, Israfel tapped more on the shelf. But everything collided. The wings' heaviness, the dark and smoky room, the skin of her face prickling with the heat from the lights, dizziness, and her stomach preparing to launch. She blurted out that she felt sick. Carlisle stumbled sideways, watery-eyed and cursing to the back room. She wanted to rip off the wings, stomp on them, and run from Mark Groth and this crazy po-show. He came in on her as she yanked and pulled at the straps and Velcro to get the rig off. "Don't wreck those wings! Fuck you, Mark! Fuck you, you're the one making a mess out of my poem to Poe! Get the hell away from me!" "Can't, because I'm the director, and you're in this thing!" "Get someone else. I just might accept those wings are built exclusive and at great expense, I might add, for you." "They hurt, Mark. They're rubbing me raw. You're telling me this now?" She turned down her eyes and rolled her shoulders. "Didn't feel like that right away." "Okay. We'll look at that." Meantime, he sat, running his hands down his thighs. "I have this house for tonight. And if we don't get this scene now, I can't. You need to come back for me, for the film, for Edgar, for yourself." I want Carlisle's voice cracked. Boy, and she needed water. I want the words up somewhere where I could see them. Mark refused her request to pull a Marlon Brando. She knew the words, but most important, she understood Israfel's purpose. Carlisle, in her wings, couldn't lean back, and when she sat on the edge of the vinyl camp chair, his needle straight. "What made you think I could do this?" she demanded. "I sing silly, sad songs on Saturday nights in front of people who are drinking and smoking and trying to get laid. It doesn't make me an actress. Not for this. Not the way you want it." Pulling herself off the hook that way. "I should just smack the ever-living smart shit right out of you, Mark. If that would get your winged ass in front of my camera, go ahead." He stepped chin forward. "Make your day." "Nah, enough all of that." Ulla, at the door, cleared her throat. "Mark, the crew? Yeah, to tell them we have an issue with these wings. We're going to move on to the Elmira scene. Copy that." An efficient Ulla turned her wide jeans hips around as Carlisle said, No, I'm gonna do it." Ulla pivoted on her heels and Mark nodded. "Set it up." Ulla gave a little smile and disappeared into the gloom. Mark followed Carlisle's persistent gaze. "Like you some Ulla, huh?" Carlisle thrust back her shoulders. "She's mighty pretty. Blue eyes like falling to the sky." She sighed. "We could make beautiful babies." "Oh," his brows pinched. "That's inconceivable. Unless the rumors are true." Carlisle brought up a hand and through clenched teeth. "Mark, I swear to God." Mark lifted an arm to ward off the blow. "Struck by an angel." "No, I am going. You know why I'm going back out there?" Well, I'm paying you." "Sorry, talk about yourselves." "Gordon Lucier is my partner. I don't let anybody down. I'm making music with, but I mean you've got to get these wings adjusted or whatever needs to happen with them." "I hear you. And you want Ulla's phone number?" "No," she emphasized and considered. "Yes. Well, I think Chris needs a talk." "Get out there and be the pain in my ass. Feelings mutual, damnation." "Fuck you, Mark. You're all over the map on this issue, aren't you?" The shoot continued despite a few glitches, both technical and by memory lapse. Mark put the cast through what he called a hunt and shoot, that involved them miming through the scene, not speaking, but moving as in a strange dance. The camera searched for shadows curling around veins of hands and the dark presence of Israfel's wings. The scene wrapped at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for the Misfits. John Seeley, Melissa Scott Sinclair, the lovable Clay